Stitcher's cast and creator executive producer. You are Jeffrey Allen. I wasn't sure if it was very.
Jordan.
I did. Well, there was a fine video person here, so I want to make sure to leave room for that.
I get very short. You gotta sit up straight. Practice your alignment. Hi guys. Hi. How's everyone doing? Good.
So let me give a quick round of introductions over here. Sitting immediately to my left is the creator, executive producer, and chief creative force of Stitchers. Schechter. He plays Linus. And by the way, we had a panel together just before, and I forgot to mention, he's adorable. Ritesh, Rajan. Okay, the next person we know we're all in love with. He's the man that we want to be, or that we want to be with. He is Detective Quincy Fisher. He is Damon, Dayoub. And finally, a woman of mystery. Right? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Sarah Davenport plays Ivy Brown. Sarah! Right, now, as a way of introduction, I have to say that I have to give credit where credit is due. The second biggest Stitchers fan, after Jeffrey's wife, who I see sitting out there in the audience, the second biggest Stitchers fan is my daughter, Ashira. And she is studying abroad this year, but she was kind enough to still send me via the miracle of social media lots of questions, including several that and I have to give another shout out over here. Robin from Freeform has been our PR person. Yeah. Robin went through Ashira's questions and she said, great question, can't ask that. Great question, can't ask that either. Great question, well, you can try, but we don't really know that yet. So, I'm just kind of pulling your leg over here. Right, okay, so let's quickly start. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to tweet questions, audience questions, my handle is @JewishCartoon. The lovely and talented Allison is sitting over there collecting your questions, and we will bring them up. I'm going to ask our panelists, because we have so much to talk about, I'm such a major fan and a fanboy, that I want to try to contain our answers to about a minute or so that we make sure to talk about everything that we want to talk about. Bye, Jeff. Nice.
That'll save us about 45 minutes.
Yeah. Right, so going down the line, let's start all the way down from the far end over there, right, with Sarah. Can you give the log line summary for Stitchers from your character's perspective? What's the show about?
Okay. I get asked this a lot, right? Yeah, gotta promote. No, well, just, what's the show about? So I worked it down. I call it a procedural drama with some very smart science that is focused on solving crimes.
I think we have a writer-actress over here.
I think that's pretty much the show.
Damon.
One-line pitch.
Oh, that's my answer too. For my character, it would be really cool stuff that I don't understand, but I get to give bad guys. That's good enough. I think.
Linus would pitch the show. How many girls can he hook up with in the lab without his parents catching them in their bedroom? That's probably.
Oh, how many children can I put through college and high school off of one show?
How's that working out for you so far? Excellent. All right, so Jeff, let's start with you then for the next question. Elaborate, what is the core theme of the show? What's the emotional journey that you want viewers to be taken on?
I love it. Can I do a shout out first?
Please.
Because the initial title for this, Dr. Tyner,
Here we go.
The initial title that came up with was Stitchers Fans Unite. And the reason why we have a season 3 is because of our fandom. And we are very fortunate to have, and we have a couple of Uber fans, but I don't want to offend anybody who I do not call out, shout out here. But there's one fan in particular who, all by herself, while being a high school student, started a petition that got over 10,000 signatures. She started a letter writing campaign. She was collecting pictures, putting them up on the internet. And I think she was instrumental for us getting a season 3. And that is our very own Alyssa Lemke.
Alyssa, can you stop filming for 1 second and come up here and just wait for the cameras?
Okay, so the theme, which will actually resonate with fans, is family. That's what the show is about. It's about family. So you'd say season 1 it was about the creation of family. It's like all these people, kind of like the the Island of Lost Boys kind of thing. All these people with sort of family dynamic issues and problems and broken families coming together and creating a family. So that was season 1. Season 2 was, okay, now that we've agreed that we're going to be a family, how do we be an effective family, right? What does it mean family is messy? How do we deal with that? Am I ready really to have a family? Season 3 is going to be fighting for your family, right? Now that we know how to be a family, now we have to fight, for our family. And I'll give away season 4 if we're lucky enough to get it. Season 4 will be, what am I willing to sacrifice for my family? So the entire, and then season 5 we'll talk about 2 years from now. But the entire lens of Stitches can be viewed through the filter of family.
Ritesh, your character is probably one of the most developed of all the characters on the show, in terms of giving him a backstory and us really knowing who he is. He's very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about how you approach a character where you're really putting it all out there?
Yeah.
And also, from building off what Jeff just said, the family perspective.
When I first read about Linus, I wanted to have a really kind of open conversation with Jeff about what kind of person is Linus. What I was very conscious of approaching the character was, being, as I said this a little bit earlier on the previous panel, being an Indian person playing scientist, which can sometimes be seen as a stereotype. But I always commended Jeff on making that part of my character's backstory, in the sense that this is just one piece of the puzzle to Linus, and approaching Linus more about his humanity first, which is what we all are. We're human beings first. So the one thing that I thought was very prevalent, where I had to be aware of, was Linus's kind of his ability to just always wear his heart on a sleeve, which I think makes him very kind of relatable, and it tones down his goofiness. He's goofiness to the extent of, this is who he is, and people enjoy that, because no matter what he does, he's comfortable in his own skin. So if he's gonna go and hit on Camille and be a total fool, it's okay, because he's okay with it. And there's something very, I think, endearing about that. And I think everyone has somebody in their family that gets picked on the most. In my family, it's also me. I'm the middle, and that's my sister. She's the youngest, and she's a bully. But you know what? It's fine, because I think at the end of the day, it's all about love and being there for each other. And the one thing that, no matter what happens to Linus, if he trips and he falls, there's someone always there to catch him. So having that confidence allows him to be goofy and silly, and sort of still maintain a maturity. Obviously, the events that occur between season 1 and 2, that maturity level increases due to circumstances. But it's just not losing his I think his charm, his kind of magic. You don't want to take anything ever too seriously with him, even though he works in a very serious environment, which he's aware of. But I think there's something very open and playful about him.
Sarah, your character is newer to the cast, and you're coming in, perhaps you know more about the background of your character than we, the audience, knows so far, but you certainly have to... So much for getting that information out. How much do you pay you? You get extra bonus for that?
That's also undisclosed.
Right. Okay, hang on. Let me review this NDA over here to see if there's any area that's covered yet. So how do you play somebody that you don't really know yourself yet?
Day by day. Really, when I auditioned at first, I really was confused almost. I had, just a little piece of the puzzle, and I took a lot of time to just talk out every part of it and just came up with my own solutions. So that's really what I'm writing on, is this concocted story in my head. And then, I'll get a script and read and then kind of adjust based on what he actually says. So it's kind of a combination of like, okay, I think I know this person, I think I know these people. Where do I think they'll go? What is this interaction? And then, when I get new information, I just try to filter it. And there's no real,
So that's
I see my
fascinating,
fans.
though. So give me an example then of a time when you had a preconception in your head and it conflicted with what the executive producer wanted for you and how you adjusted to it.
Sure. I think, as a lot of people wonder, like, what is Ivy's? Is she good? Is she bad? Right? And I think that was a lot of my focus when I first, I believe the first scene that I got was when I met Kirsten at the door. And I'm telling her, I don't want to, forget you, right? I don't want to talk to you. So I had to really work out for myself, is she good, is she bad? And Jeffrey and I have had conversations. He has not given me an answer, but, no. But I think in a small way, he's able to say, well, she really cares about her family, and Ivy, and she's coming from it, from that earnest place. Sounds pretty good, right? So, I think he's kind of leading me along, and I understand why I kind of like that I don't know, because I think that's, Ivy doesn't know a lot of things, and so I think it's right that I also.
Right, so that gives you shades to play. Damon, you gave a wonderful aside look to Jeffrey at something that Sarah just said.
Oh,
no.
I like to trash talk Jeff. That's my job on the show, is really just to trash talk.
Sometimes I feel good about myself. I'll say, Dan, can you come up here? I'm feeling a little too cocky.
Yeah, he's feeling too good about himself. I gotta bring him down.
Well, the funny thing is, when I met you outside, I did a double take because I'm so accustomed to see you either in a suit or working the bag in, your garage or wherever that boxing bag is.
My garage.
Your garage. Okay, so I got that right. So your character, to my mind, is halfway between where Sarah is and where Tesh is, where we know something about you, but yet it feels like there are a lot of layers that have not been peeled away yet. Can you address that?
Yeah, I think also because, Fisher kind of came onto the program later. I think that it's a slow burn for him to know, for us to find out exactly really what makes him tick. He's very different than I am personally. He likes his suit, he likes to be clean shaven. I hate his suit. But, and there's no gray area for him. Personally, I live in the gray area. But he's very black and white. And I think that, through last season, especially the team kind of coming to him for relationship advice, which is kind of a mistake. And, certain things I think the writers and Jeff really start to, slowly peel back those layers and to see, who Fisher is and really what makes him tick. But, I think we all know that he really likes to be bad guys. He likes to be bad guys, and this group of people and this world enables him to do things he never thought he'd ever be able to do.
Jeff, you once said to me that you love to put a group of young, talented people into a fantastic situation where they have the opportunity of a lifetime to excel. You espouse this philosophy about creating a show, but sitting at this table, it seems like it applies as well to the people that you hire to work with you. Please elaborate.
There's something exciting when you get people who aren't jaded about stuff, life or work or whatever. And we're going through the process now of interviewing writers for the upcoming season, which I hope we get some because we're supposed to start working in a week. But you would think that what's the like if you were going to try to figure out how to pick a writer for a show, you'd go, okay, well, let me read a script, and then if the material seems good, then let me meet the writer, and then if it looks like, okay, I like the script, I like the person, then maybe there's a match there. And what I do is I read 2 pages of a script and go, okay, there's a tone that I like. I don't know if the thing falls apart on page 50 or 60, whatever, but there's a feel, off those first couple pages, and then I don't read any more of the script, and then I meet the person, and if I really get along with the person, I go, okay, well, the fact that they're in front of me in the first place means that they probably can do the job, and I'm really enjoying being with them, and there's an energy and an excitement, and they're not jaded, and there's an enthusiasm for doing what it is we do. I go, I can work with a person like that. And then it'll, it's just putting that family together, and then it all kind of comes together. And the same thing with the cast. And then in fairness, I do go back and then read the script just to make sure that I wasn't completely, conned. But it's the same thing with the cast. You just look for people who kind of like, they have a sparkle, there's, fun. Right? I mean, I think, we're pretty lucky. Like, everybody really gels, and we've all gotten together for screening pizza parties over at my wife's house.
But you also, you took a chance on a lot of us. A lot of us hadn't done a ton of work, or we had done some work that was completely different maybe, and Jeff took a chance on all of us because he liked the work that we did, and we liked the people that we are.
Yeah.
If I may.
You may.
I know I came in so late, but that gave me a really cool vantage point. So when I filmed, we didn't have season 3, obviously, and so I, coming in for 9 and 10, was like, I'm so lucky to be here for a day, let alone any other stretch of time. And so I really kind of just focused on taking in what is the Stitchers machine, because I was like, I'm a part of it, sure, but I'm coming in at the end, and I want it to stay the way it is. And what he's talking about, that sparkle, that everyone wanting to work together from the top to the bottom. I mean, the times that I was on set was amazing, because it is that family truly that you're talking about, and that's, I think, how the theme of the show stays so strong too, because it doesn't go away when the camera's off. It doesn't go away right when you step out of that light. Like, that is the world that we live in.
Yeah, and it's not just the cast. I mean, just because we have a crew of 200 people, at any one moment, and it's. I don't want to say it's a non-stop party, but it's kind of like a non-stop party. I mean, everybody just
I'm drunk every single day.
That's an excellent segue to a wonderful clip that we are going to share with you right now to show the, somebody's running over here. It's okay, I can press the button too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're lowering the lights, this is great. Wow,
Thank you.
whole service, thank you so much.
Ooh.
Talk about family atmosphere, let's see what it's like. No, I can't see. Thank you. That was a good clip.
Oh, sorry. Is this the only person who dies in episode 1 of season 3?
I guess so.
Okay.
I'm pressing buttons. I think.
We have nanobots.
Of course. We use nanobot technology in the bodies to bridge their synaptic gaps. It's the key into stitching into their memories.
So interesting, not really. So...
The brain is a bioelectrical device. Emphasis on electrical.
Modified ST72 systems, the hallmark of high-definition sound.
The reference 600.
600 watts of breathtaking thermionic power that has no peer. Ask anyone.
Sorry I asked you.
The time needed between stitches to allow the sample's neurons to reset, it has to do with the potassium transfer between cells.
Based on weight and for the visibility and spectral analysis I ran, Kelly is in a space that is 7 by 8 by 10 feet. So doing the math, 124 minutes. How is that even possible?
Data retrieval systems and acoustic wave theory.
Follow the glutamate levels to their largest spike point.
Amplified transcranial stimulation.
In living tissue.
Nanobot annealing processor.
Transcranial magnetic stimulator. Infrared vibration receiver. Backscatter X-ray infotech.
A fantastic memory anomaly.
Yes, it's a PMA, of course.
What does that even mean?
All new Stitches coming soon on Freeform.
Okay, so we can see the obvious family atmosphere there because the reactions of the people who are standing around the person who has to spout all the techno babble are just fantastic. And we can play it again, and this time I would want you to watch the people standing around the person that's speaking as I have to say this. But I also want to take the time and focus on our panelists who are live and in person. So I asked, Jeffrey, how do you write that stuff? And actors, how do you say that stuff?
Well, I have the easy part. I just, Dr. Wikipedia comes in and we go, oh, annealing processor, good. Now we stick those words into Tesh's mouth and 8 minutes later.
And by the way, Tesh, you have a shorter haircut now from pulling out your hair from season 1.
Yeah.
Stuff.
No, well, we do a lot of research. I mean, the science is 85% accurate, and 15% speculative, I'd say. We try not to go too far off the rails on any of the science. We have some scientists here going, yeah, that's right. But sure, we'll do research. We won't get the immersion device. It's like we're trying not to make stuff up completely. But we like to say that we're 20 minutes into the future on our science. But yeah, so we'll do that, the research, and look it up and say, okay, here's how the thing actually would work, and we'll try to come up with the technical terms because it's just fun to watch, our guys break their teeth trying to say all that stuff. So and then it turns into dialogue, but it's always treated like somebody will always put a pin in it, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry I asked you. It's like, somebody's like, oh, so interesting, not really. We try not to take it too seriously.
Tesh, give us a sample. What do you remember? You memorize lines all the time.
Oh my God. There was one where I won't be able to say it because I couldn't say it on set, but in season 1, episode 8, when we're all trapped in the lab with the virus, when I'm trying to explain to Camille how to get through the drainage culvert,
Right.
that whole blueprint explanation, I couldn't do.
What was it like?
It was like crawl. You're gonna go through the sewage, and then when you get to the drainage culvert, because it was mainly architectural terms, and for some reason I couldn't do it. If it wasn't computer nonsense, I was like, forget it.
Give us some good computer nonsense.
It'll say like the supercomputer is overheating. Someone needs to get the mainframe, re-equalized and then as you can tell, I'm not.
I don't get a hard time with the stereo components.
No, see that one was good.
That one
was good. It's funny because
that felt like an improv.
As an actor, you try to do stuff that you try not to bring your habits to your character, your real life habits, and Linus just speaks completely different from me. That it's how easy. I mean, he's just much smarter than I am. It's just that simple. I'm kind of just whatever.
As his sister nods furiously. Bully.
Yeah, because she's the one I rub lines with, so she hates me. She probably hates you more. But we gotta do it again because it gets to a point where, in order for it to sound authentic, it has to be, within ingrained. So I gotta be able to do it backwards, frontwards, sideways in my sleep. So she probably knows more lines than I do.
I'm not going to put you on the spot, don't worry. I can see she's nodding her head in the other direction furiously right now. Damon, you don't get to spout too much of the stuff. Yours is more of a reactive role, right?
Jeff and the writers are very smart. They don't give me any of that dialogue. Because this voice does not say that dialogue very quickly or well. So they just give me the easy stuff, and even that is trying. What was the one? Jamie B?
Jamie B. Well, that was just more funny because we talked about the notebook. You wrote Jamie B. And then you were like, and then I opened his notebook and it was just like Jamie B. Jamie B.
My job is really just to screw with Sally. That's really all I do. Is I just screw up Sally as much as possible because it's really fun. Because she's really angry.
She gets so angry.
I don't know. It's so nice.
We should just do a supercut one day of just Sally.
But we have to bleep out everything. She just cusses so yeah, the writer's really smart. They don't give me any of that stuff. They just give me like cop terminology, and I try not to mess it up.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
Give me that raise.
Oh, pretty. I think pretty good. Overall as a team.
Yeah. We're we're very lucky that we get to do this for a living, and so we're very professional, we get our jobs done, and we move quickly, but we like to have a good time doing it.
I will say
Except
this,
for Tesh.
a little secret tidbit, since Kyle's here, so he uses post-it notes
Everywhere.
everywhere. So anytime you see like post-it notes on a computer screen and you think, oh, there must be some equation, no, it's just Kyle's lines.
That's not it. No, when Cameron's at his station and he's referring to the computers, it's like he's checking like some of his vital signs, and then he's reading his lines.
So you see all these multicolored, usually they're like inappropriate messages we write to each other to just throw each other off. But 95% of the time it's Kyle's lines.
So what you're saying is I can tell Kyle that you all think he's the next Marlon Brando?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take it in like the worst way.
Sarah, you're relatively new to the set. Describe a day. What's it like when you show up? Walk us through.
It's magical. So it's up in Santa Clarita, which I had never really been to. I'm new to town pretty much, so.
From?
It's born and raised in Atlanta, went to college in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I moved from. That's where I kind of connect you. But yeah, so driving up to Santa Clarita, it's like 30 minutes from my house, and it's a gorgeous drive. So it's like the perfect thing to clear my head, get me in the work mode. Get there. It's probably morning time. It's probably morning. And first, hair, makeup, that kind of thing. I love. We have the ladies who do our hair and makeup. Both their names start with T. So there are 2 T's, and they're hilarious, and I miss them. And anyway, so yeah, get hair and makeup done. I'll sit with Kirsten and I. We're usually in there together. So we'll chit chat like sisters.
That's a
and
condition of
then,
the lead of the show.
Yes, and then I know. It's possible. Yeah, and then just pretty much get ready. It's, like I said earlier, it's a well-oiled machine, so things are rolling. You get there at this time, you're doing this at this time, and then you're on set and you're doing your takes. Things run smoothly. We're not like you mentioned 8 takes. In my days, I don't think anything was taken 8 times. So it's quick. No, not what I meant at all. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, is that a day? Did I describe it well? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, usually one of us will overeat at lunch and have a stomachache for the rest of the day.
Lots of coffee.
Or Emma or Kyle, one of them will be like, oh, my stomach hurts. Where are they? I don't know. They're laying down somewhere.
Actors, how do you identify with your characters? How much of yourself do you put into the role? David, you touched on that a little bit, and maybe you can reflect on your opinion of how much your fellow actors have put into themselves, into their roles.
Well, in my opinion, I think that the best actors put themselves at least a little bit into their characters. That way they can feel grounded, they can feel like they're really there. I think that, everybody, when they bring themselves to it, they bring something very specific, something that no one else can do to that character. Kyle, nobody talks like that. Nobody talks that fast. He sometimes talks that fast.
He does.
I think just everybody brings themselves to the character, and I think that it's extraordinarily important. For me, even though there were some differences, I've always wanted to be a cop. I always thought the detectives were like the coolest people ever because they just ask questions, find stuff.
You're a protector, I feel. Like if I got into a bar fight, he'd be the first person to jump in or just hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah, right.
You idiot!
Like a comic book fight.
Oh God, dude, I may actually win that fight.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like to be a protector, but I found it fascinating, so I tried to listen to podcasts and talk to people. My wife's brother is a police officer, and talk to him about procedure and what they do and just their thought process behind trying to find bad guys. And I just found it so interesting. And Jeff allowed me to bring myself to the character. Anything that I thought was really important to bring to Quincy, he was pretty free in allowing me to do so. And I think that's just testament to the creator that we have, the writers we have, and also to to your fellow actors because they allow you to do what you want to do, and they just kind of run off of what you're doing. So it's a lot of fun.
I want to ask a follow-up question to Jeff, but also a follow-up question to you, Tesh. Let's see if I can remember both of them. Jeff, how much have the characters changed based on the actors' portrayals of them? And Tesh, I want to address the ethnicity of your character. Were you hired colorblind, or was it specifically written as an Indian or Pakistani American character? Let's take you first.
The character was colorblind. When I went in, a little bit about the audition process. I remember it was like, I think a week before kind of Christmas holiday break before the whole industry shut down. I got the call from my agents on a Friday for audition on Monday. Went in and saw Michael Testa, who's the casting director, Monday morning at 10 a.m. Did the audition, and it was, people of all color were in there, so it was totally open. Just the character's name was Linus, and that was all I knew. I don't think he got last name until I was there. And went in. He said, "Come back in an hour. We'll have the director of the first episode, Tom Holland." So I was pretty nervous at this point because I read the script. I was like, "This is great," and then it all kind of happened so fast that I didn't really digest what was going on. I remember I went to McDonald's in Studio City because I had breakfast. I love McDonald's. And I got just a small French fries, and I was sweating. And then I came back, and I was like, I shouldn't eat those fries.
Salt
Shouldn't eat those fries. And they were like, okay, great. Tom was like, oh, we're going to call your agents. You're going to come in and test in like 2 days. And I was like, okay. And when I tested, there was me. Everyone else was either Southeast Asian or, like, I think one dude was Japanese, one dude was Chinese. I think another guy was Filipino. And then there was me. And old Linus. Oh, yeah. There was another Linus before me. People don't know that. But, so it was, I guess they wanted to go Asian or South Asian.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity then because, as we discussed on a previous panel, race and diversity and inclusion in the entertainment business, these opportunities to come in, read for a character that has no preconceived notions about it on the page whatsoever is very rare.
Yeah, and especially it's kind of a double-edged sword because when people come in and ask, okay, this character, there's no ethnicity, you go in, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna cast white. And that's just my experience. But then when you go in and they're like, we just want an Indian, and I go in 9 times out of 10, and they literally have said this to me, you're not nerdy enough as an Indian person in real life. Impossible. And I'm like,
can we get a camera on your sister, please? You guys down there are missing the better half of the show.
See, she's a bully. I wasn't lying. Well, I am a little bit of a nerd, but I'm weird. I don't know. I think everyone's weird.
Jeff, over to you though.
I like video games. I like anime. But I like sports.
This is
so
a
it's
dating site. I like long walks on the beach.
I like Indian food. I want someone to tuck me in at night. So, but it was a great opportunity to kind of take advantage of it, and I think it's really cool because out of all the characters, I'm the only character on the show where you meet my family, like my parents and that kind of stuff. And I think that's important to show a culture that may not have as much screen time as other cultures on television and it's on such a big platform. And I think it's just fun because it allows me to bring a lens and point of view to the character that I wouldn't have the opportunity to do so if, Camille didn't come home and see my parents. I mean, that was one of the most, I think, interesting and fun times we had on set. Because also, it was the first time I think we really saw characters just living outside of the lab, and you really got to see the characters from a different point of view and digest them. Oh, this is who they are.
Right. That warmth and humor from that episode also began to trickle out to the rest of the season, the rest of the show, and it definitely colored, if we give the terrible pun, my view of the character and all the other characters and the potential for the family atmosphere that Jeff said is the central core, the emotional core of the show. Jeff, if you would please address then, how much have the characters evolved as a result of their portrayal by these wonderful actors?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's kind of hard to quantify because it's like if I remember like when I first wrote the spec pilot for the series, it's like you always write with sort of like a conception in mind of like who the actor or actress might be for it, and so Kirsten, I picked the name Kirsten because I was thinking of Kristen Stewart, right? So it's like, okay, it'd be that kind of, because they're kind of cool and removed. That was the whole Temple Displasia days, right? So that was very specific, her name, because of who I had in mind, not as the actual actress for the part, but as the type. And then Cameron was just like every man, so there was nobody specific that I could think of for him. But what happened is that as soon as the casting process got locked in and people started playing the roles, I can't separate out like who the character is separate from the actor or the actress, right? It's like there's no place in my mind where Fisher existed and was not Damon, or Ivy existed and was not Sarah, or Linus, or Kyle or Emma. It's like that's just who they are. So like even if I go back now and I read my original spec pilot that was written before there was any casting, before there was anything, I'll read it and it's these faces in there. There's no separation. So it's like they became the part. It's like retroactively in my brain, and kind of like went both ways on it.
We have a super fan, as we identified you before, sitting in the audience over here, and she needs some red meat to be able to put online. So what can you tell us about the creation of the show, the origins of this very unique concept that she has not heard before, and she can take credit for sharing?
I don't know, it's such a well-told story, I feel.
Well, tell the story again. Let's see if we can find some nuances.
Nuances, okay. So I was working on a kids show up in Canada, where I was living and working at the time, called Overruled, which is for Disney Channel. And as part of the whole, it was a show that I created about kids having a youth court in high school. And as part of the whole family feel, we'll be doing it up there also. So everybody felt very comfortable to come up to me and my partner on the show. So the Best Boy Electric, which is basically that's the guy who rolls the cables, came up and said, I have a writing partner. We have this idea for a kids show. We pitch it to you. Oh, sure. So they pitched me this idea about kids in middle school who are in the computer club and they solve crimes. Because like one of the kids' fathers is a cop, and they would create a virtual reality world built on the police files, and they would jack in. I was going to tell them they would jack into avatars and solve the crime in 22 minutes. So it's like a real time, like it was like solving crimes in real time.
Encyclopedia Brown.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Matrix Edge.
Yeah, exactly.
I do Hollywood speak.
So I acquired the idea from them, and I knew, because there's something about that was intriguing. I knew I didn't want to do kid stuff anymore, so I immediately aged it up. Actually, I should let you guys read that first initial document. Aged it up so that they were in college and post-college. Turned it into there was this technology out at the time that Microsoft had just created, I think called PhotoStitch. It was something like that, where there was some crazy number, like 500 million pictures were being uploaded to the cloud like every day. Like a bizarrely large number. And the idea was that, and what Microsoft was doing is that if you signed up, they would be able to tap into your pictures and create these 3D walkthroughs of popular places. Like, so for example, like how many people like right now are taking pictures on Times Square, right? So if there are a couple of thousand pictures being taken like right now with cell phones and video cameras and all that, and they're all being uploaded, you take those 1,000 pictures and piece them together into a 3D walkthrough of that moment in time in Times Square. So I was thinking, okay, well, if a crime was committed in Times Square, and the government is secretly hacking into this, they could go into in this virtual reality 3D walkthrough and see things that were missed by individuals, right? So that was the initial technology idea. So I wrote the pilot based on the uploaded pictures and security camera concept. And then one of the producers I was pitching the series to said, security camera feels done, but I've always wanted to figure out how to go into the memories of the dead. And I was like, oh, that's a much better idea. I like that. So literally, I had the pilot already written as the security camera version of it, rewrote it, and it was a simple fix, because a lot of the script didn't have anything to do with the technology. It's like she still went into a tank, and then, so now just instead of going into this thing, it was just a body, instead of a computer, simulation. So it was a quick rewrite. It was like a 3-day rewrite, and so that turned into the show that we had. But I'll give you. So here's something that's very cool. Because I like trying to when I write something, make it a little bit. I'm not fully successful. I try to make something surprising or like, oh wait, that's not supposed to happen yet. Like in the pilot episode, when you have these. The Kirsten Cameron type relationship, it's the will they won't they kind of thing. It's usually you build up to that first big kiss, that happens like towards the end of the first season. So I said, no, we're gonna do that. Thank you. That was our 5-minute warning. So I said, no, we did that in the very first episode, right? And then pulled it back. So let's try to do something completely unexpected. So in the original conception for Stitchers, very much like we have Kirsten Cameron, they get together, it's that, kind of like snarky kind of relationship. Things look like it's, like, oh, this will be an interesting one. Let's see where this relationship goes. This will be the will they won't they relationship. And then I killed Cameron at the end of episode 1. Yeah. To say, oh, because what I wanted is, in a
Game of Thrones,
Game of Thrones. Get rid of that. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, because the idea being that I wanted people to be able to look at the show and go, oh, I have no idea what. If they could do that, if they could set you up for like, this is who your male romantic lead is, and they actually kill them in episode 1, I'm gonna watch this show. I have no idea what they're capable of doing, right? So
that's your first good idea.
Last one.
So we did get the 5-minute warning, and there's so much to talk about that we haven't even touched on yet. But let me see if I can do some rapid fire stuff right now. First of all, the question I'm most curious about, and this might be a question for our young lady in the front row, who is a Stitcher superfan? Who likes the show? Who is the support, the backbone of the show? And more importantly, how can we get the word out, as you did so effectively, and thanks to everybody else, to make sure that this show stays on the air until season 7 and 8, when Jeffrey can have the kind of residuals he needs to put his kids up in his house. So do you want to address the question? There's a microphone right over there. So who is a Stitcher superfan? Who are you?
I honestly don't know. I was sitting in my room when I created this petition, so just watching, reading episodes, and just a random thought. But I guess I would say a Stitcher superfan is someone who is completely dedicated, will do anything, and that's our entire fandom. They will do anything to get. We did everything we could to get a season 3. We did so many projects, and we worked as hard as we could, and there were times where everyone wanted to give up, and that's the one thing that we had to make sure that they wouldn't give up, because that's when we were worried that that's when season 3 wouldn't happen, is if we did all give up. And
what binds you together? What's the common denominator? Meaning, what do you love about the show? Why?
What do I love about the show?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, because I'm not a big science person, but but I like the show a lot, because I don't know why, honestly. I keep trying to think of why I do love the show. It's just interesting. It's a lot different. I honestly don't know.
Other members of the audience, why are you here? What do you love about the show? Yeah, shout it out.
I'm a recent fan. Like, I found it and then I just powered through. But I love that there's complex character development. You have different relationships going on. But I also like that you have a strong, different story arc going through. I am kind of a little bit of a science nerd. So the fact that you have that, and you're saying that 85% realistic, and I can relate to that, and I like that you're throwing it in, and you're doing stuff to keep me on my toes, where a lot of shows I watch and I'm like, oh gosh, I already know what's going to happen, I already know how it's going to end. Keep me on my toes, keep me guessing. I love that.
You got it.
Yeah.
Great. Somebody else?
It doesn't happen over and over again.
Oh, so right. So there's growth, there's evolution in the stories and the characters. That's great. That's great. Yes, over there.
Well, I put you guys in the Warehouse 13 Eureka category, and
Yes.
so seeing that those shows are gone from Netflix or everywhere else, just knowing that there was something that we could replace it with is why we, like the first 3 episodes, I was like, please let there be a season 2, and so like knowing that there's a season 3, like we're just so more excited for it, because again, like it's just something about that genre that just, I wish there was more of. And just knowing like the whole inclusion thing and seeing actors that aren't white and that are smart but funny and serious, and just knowing that like this is the era where those things are happening, I think it's really great to see that still portrayed on TV.
Great answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have about 45 seconds left, so here's what I want to do. I want to throw up the answers to the following questions online, obviously with Robin's help, so that way we can make sure to cover everything that people have been asking. Before I forget, cast and executive producer, let's take a picture together before we leave the room. And here are the questions, because I'm sure it would kill me if I didn't ask these questions. Here's my favorite one right now. Damon, since being recruited by the NSA, your character has been poisoned, shot, lost his mentor, and had marriage issues while growing closer to Camille. What form of suffering and torture do you look forward to enduring in the answer to that, okay, fine, 15 seconds, go.
Might be better for Jeff, but you know, Quincy doesn't mind failing, and he fails a lot. So, I don't know, whatever Jeff wants to torture me with this season.
Okay, so stay tuned online and we'll answer that. Linus questions. In contrast with Sarah's character, Ivy, we know most about Linus. What do you want to see happen to Linus in an upcoming season? Can't answer that now, we don't have time. Refer back to, sorry, that's a note to myself, to everyone. I was going to ask that question of everyone as well. You know, we'll get everyone to express where you would like your character to go, and then Jeff can pay you some of his college residuals because you're writers now. Congratulations. Where will we pick up season 3? Will we meet Daniel Stinger? Tell us about the pod that contained Kirsten's mother. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. Well, when will we learn the real reason for the Stitcher's technology, and how will that revelation impact the show? Is there a chance there are more levels to the Stitch Lab, like the one that was holding the deceased Ed Clark? And of course, what exactly happened to Ed Clark? And finally, I'm going to leave us with this important question. What kind of licensed product would you ideally love to see for Stitchers? And I'll give mine very quickly. I want the chest star from, okay? Right? And if I can't have the chest star, then I want Bro Night to be made a national holiday. That's my So going down the row quickly, and then we'll wrap up. Go ahead, Jeff. Licensed product that you'd like to see for Stitchers?
Oh, action figures. I need action figures.
Oh, yeah. I've seen his man cave.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
New line of a collection of Linus's sweaters.
I'm going to go action figures too then.
Yeah, I want the boxing gloves too. You know, like the Hulk boxing gloves? Quincy boxing gloves? Yeah, okay, Sarah?
I want an inflatable Stitch tank, like a pool.
That's great. That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, the Stitchers panel ends with all of you getting a complimentary t-shirt as you walk out. Thank you, Freeform. It's so incredible you've done this. Thank you, Stitchers panel. Support the show. We'll see you in season 3.
Picture. I know. By the way, I just got called Just look at the sound.
Okay.
Wait, the selfie one is cool.
Oh, selfie guy. Yeah. Selfie guy. Nailed it.
Okay, over here, white. White
Oh,
picture.
white.
Yeah, come on, Alyssa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sister picture. your wife makes one time.